Hi, my name is Kevin Furman. Welcome to 10 Steps to Unbelievable Rolls. This is step number 10. And if you're just skipping at number 10, this probably won't really do much for you. You really do need to go back to 1 through 9. You know, it's kind of why there are 10 steps and not just one. But anyway, if you've gone through 1 through 9, you've made it all the way, you've gone to the last step. Good for you. Obviously, you've now figured out there's a lot to do, that just knowing what they are isn't going to get you the skill. You have to actually practice the skill. So a lot of this really does boil down to practice, practice, practice. The more consistent you are with all this practice, the more you're going to get out of it. So if you practice every day, you're going to move really fast through all this process, and you're going to get to be rolling within a month. You're going to have great rolls once you get through these steps. It really does go quickly as long as you practice every day. If you tend to practice periodically, day here, day there, whatever, it's going to take you a while. And that's okay. That's fine. It's not a problem. It's just going to take you longer than maybe you want. So if you're interested in moving on and actually having rolls and really, really playing great, then practice every day. If you don't really care that much, well, then you can do what you want, I suppose. Anyway, this step 10 out of the 10 steps, it's a pretty simple. It's kind of putting it all in a, kind of wrapping it up, so to speak. So far, we've talked a lot about how to do, let the stick bounce without you squeezing it. That was steps 1 through 3. And then 4, 5, and 6, 7, and more or less 8, actually, the rest of those guys, they were about learning how to bounce the stick using control of the back 3 fingers and then how to create some speed with that. And then step 9 was all about the open-close technique, making them even. And then this step 10 is really about, okay, what's next? What do you do? Well, you could take all the things you've learned about rolls so far. Let's say you know some of the rudiments of drumming. And if you don't know rudiments of drumming, well, then you should search that, and I'm sure you'll find 8,000 different ways to do rudiments, right? So if you do know about rudiments, some of those are the rolls, the roll family, 5-stroke, 7-stroke, 9, all those numbered rolls. Those are perfect things to practice now that you understand how to roll with your correct techniques. So what you want to do then is do the same sort of thing. Say, okay, I'm going to work on my 5-stroke rolls. Okay, great. So then you're working on the technique of, say, open close and evenness and all the things you've learned, apply it to 5-stroke roll. Now, with all rolling, rudiments, let's go to rudiments from in here. With all the rudiments, the slow, fast, slow idea that we talked about in step 8 really is the key. So with 5-stroke roll, I'm going to even meld it a little bit together more. So working on 5-stroke rolls, doing them without tension, without freaking out, and a little sloppy there as I was talking. Let me try that again. So when you're trying to do fast stuff, when you have this in your hands and it's not tense, you can concentrate on how well you're doing it and not just doing it. So that's a lot of what we're going to talk about in step 10 is, okay, do the slow, fast, slow thing to all the things you already know how to do. So start learning all the rudiments. Start learning the 5-stroke and learning all those numbered rolls, okay? The other thing is you start getting into other things like when you get into paradiddles. Let's kind of get into that whole deal for a second here. And paradiddles, if you don't know, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Paradiddle, paradiddle. If that went by too fast, search it. You'll find it. Anyway, that rudiment's great because at first it's all kind of all with your wrist. But as you get faster with it, the diddle part, paradiddle, diddle, diddle, right? It starts to be bounces. And the only way to get it really super fast with paradiddles is to bounce those notes after playing them a lot, obviously. And if those diddles are even, those start to sound the way they're supposed to. So all this control of open-close technique and all that sort of deal, that really has to do with controlling it at different levels and working different stickings into it like paradiddles, so that you can get in and out of bouncing smoothly. So the one of the things I guess in step 10 beyond take your rudiments and now go practice them. Slow, fast, slow, all of them. Okay, all the ones just go for it. Now, there's one more thing I would suggest at this step 10 is what I call working your break point, which is not a great name. I still haven't come up with a better name yet. I will someday. But it's the point at which when you're doing right, right, left, left, kind of slow, right, really slow, let's say, you can do it with your wrists, right? 2 wrist motions, right, right, both with wrist, or you could kind of do it with bouncing, like letting it bounce, right? So what I would suggest is figure out where that point where your wrist muscles won't go faster. Now I can go pretty quick, so I'm gonna pretend I'm more of a student age, which usually it's around here, something like that. Okay, for so many, not everybody. Okay, and it gets to be hard to do with your wrist, so then you have to actually start bouncing. So one really smart thing to do to make that transition as smooth as possible so that it doesn't sound like there's a quote break point is you play, say a measure, thinking 16th notes in your head, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, as wrist motions, and then a measure with bouncing motions, okay, with open close technique. Okay, so then you go back and forth between those two ideas, wrist, open close, each a measure, and try to make them sound the same. Wrist, open close, wrist, open close. Now, as you get better at that and you get some more technique built up and you've been playing a long time like I have, that's those tempos that you're working are going to be faster. Like for me, that's my wrist speed. That's for right now. That's kind of on the upper end. I could go faster, but just for example purposes. There's not a lot of difference if you look at my hands, but there is in technique. This is all wrist and then open close. Okay, so that's a really smart thing to do. So step 10 really is practice all your rudiments, go slow, fast, slow with everything you know how, learn more if you don't know them, and then work this breakpoint. That's really step 10. Pretty simple. There's not a lot of instruction, but I would take I don't know, a minute and work your breakpoint every day, and then take another 5 minutes, honestly, and work your rudiments. Pick one a week and just do that for 5 minutes. Try to do it in different rhythms. Try it around the drum set if you're a drum set player or whatever. And just try different tempos. Like I'm going to try it at this tempo, and then go up by 2s and try a new tempo, and go slower and faster, and mess around with things so you can control the roll, not so much just play a roll. You need to learn how to play it in certain speeds, at certain times, so to speak. So you can be thinking of it as 1 E and a 2, basing your rolls in 16th notes. Right? 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a. That's another thing to really be thinking about, like learning how to control it in terms of rhythm, not so much just can I roll, but can I roll in time. So that's the next step, is learning how to do that. And that's, again, where the rudiments sort of come into play, and then this breakpoint can help out too with that, but just the concept of it being in time. And then you just work on as many things as possible. So there you go. That is step 10. It's really simple. Like I said, if you haven't done steps 1 through 9, it's not going to really make much difference for you. So you should go check those out if you haven't. If you have, then this should be really helpful in understanding, oh, well, that's all there is to do. I mean, you're right, that is all there is to do. Once you understand the technique of it, it's easy to transition to what I'm talking about and then actually practice them and get something out of it. So, hope you enjoyed it. That is it. You've made it through 10 steps. Congratulations. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. Email will be just fine. And if you want to leave me a post, great. Awesome. So, check me out, furmanmusic.com, for other things I got going on. And/or thanks again for checking this out. And let people know there is a way to learn how to roll without tension. It's out there, and it's the truth, so to speak. All right, you guys take care. We'll see you around. Bye.